Hello everyone, welcome to Spa Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix here at AOR. The RF2 League is in full swing, back for the new year. I'm Curtis Kenyon, gonna guide you through this little shindig. Should be a good one, as we've had a little bit of a break. Everybody's been able to refresh a little bit. Have had some fun in other series, most of these drivers, but they've made their way back to AOR. And I want to thank you all for jumping in with us. Should be an interesting one. We just saw Max Lister, decide to yeet it into the hairpin there. But yes, welcome in everyone. Just making sure all my cameras are good to go. Looks like everything is working this time. If you joined us last time, it was it was a rough one. A bit of a rough one. We had some issues. Just some small technical issues, but all that has been, well, figured out, to be honest with you. But yes, oh, hey, a little bit of fun there. That was Sergi and Max Lister. Q1 underway. 19 drivers have shown up for today, and it looks like a couple of them may not be at the 104% limit. So this will be their last chance to get there. It should be decently... well, it's a little easier here at Spa because of the long straightaways and all of that. As long as you don't really go too crazy in the rest of the corners, you can generally do it. You just got to put together a decent lap. And we shouldn't really see too many people get disqualified because of that. Of course, it could happen. Wouldn't be the first time. Looks like Craig Baxter has taken the early lead here in qualifying. We'll go ahead and have a look at him. Has been looking, well, decently okay here at this track. Not one of his favorites. And I know the timer up there says 54 minutes. There's something wrong with the server side timer. But at 46 minutes, that will be the cutoff. It will just straight move into Q2. And sort of because of the way rFactor works, it doesn't quite have that feature. There's no way to really build it in either. So technically, this is considered another practice session. So for some reason, it wouldn't allow us to change the timing around. And that's just a small limitation of rFactor, and that's okay. Usually we have it work just fine, whereas Q2 is set to 12 minutes. It'll show actual P2 in the game, but it'll still give the right timing. Just for some reason didn't quite change over this time around. That's okay. We'll work with it. Couple of notables as we get going here. Sergi Haras is actually taking the lead in qualifying. He's just coming out of the pits right now, trying to get his setup just right. A 143.165. That's going to be the time to beat for now. Craig Baxter sitting at a 143.517. Matthew Klipp looking very good here, sitting third at the moment with a 144.356. Of course, we're trying to set the top 10 for now. I was being told that there were some back of grids penalties handed out just over the last couple of races, so those will need to be served. And of course, they will be once the race starts. Super soft, soft, and medium available to the drivers here. A lot of drivers talking about going with a soft at the beginning and then a medium for a one stop. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a couple of drivers going with a super soft to medium, then back to super soft. We could see that. We could see someone like the man on your screen right now, the Spaniard Sergi Haras, going with a super soft, super soft. Wouldn't surprise me. But you do have a few options here at Spa. There's definitely a little bit of leeway, especially if you're good at saving tires, much like Sergi is here. Let's take a look around the grid a little bit. Nick Brackey just set a 7th place time, it seems. Have a look at him as he sits in the garage. Good times. Let's see who else is on a bit of a burner here. Brendan O'Henlin just set a Sector 1 time. It's pretty interesting. 30.9 seconds. That's purple in Sector 1. We'll see how he does here, sitting on a 144.547. As Craig Baxter improves to the lead with a 143. Oh, that's not how you do that there, Brandon. That's going to probably kill his time. Let's see what he comes in at. Brandon looks like he will be sitting 5th with a 144.479. Still a little bit of time here. Not much, but some. Trying to make my screen here just a little bit bigger. Yeah, there we go. We got a little bit of time. Should be able to knock out maybe one more lap. Wanted to bring up Max Lister. He was looking very good in practice just before the race. This isn't exactly his fastest time right now with a 144.762. We saw him in the 43s, so he has some room to improve. Just now that he's being put to the whetstone a little bit, we'll have to see if he can sharpen up his lines and just put it all together. Turn 1920, the chicane, so important. Got to nail that braking zone. I believe this will be his flying lap. Good timing here. Right, through La Sauce. We'll go on board. Have a look around the track. Turn that down just a touch. There we go. All right, through Radion. Looking good. Roche and Radion, the famous corners here at Spa. Down the Camel Straight, coming into Le Combe. Decently stable. Now Brussels, tricky corner, off camber, goes on to camber. Just nails the throttle for Pool. Do have to slow down. Just a dab of brakes. Oh, he's got those wings turned up good. He'll be having a really good Sector 2 time. Now the campus complex. And into Stavelo. Nice and smooth. Very good. I like it. This is good stuff coming from Max and his SC Oranges. Racing the car. Comes up underneath this one. 310. Nails the brakes. Through the chicane. Gotta pick your way through here. Very easy to spin the tires up. Grabbing some DRS. Spun the tires there. And at the start-finish line, we'll see where he ended up. Sixth place, not bad, a 144.3, so not quite the time he was looking for, but it'll work. It'll get the job done. Max has been making some strides in improvement. Taking a look here at Noah Chilla, sitting third place in the Royal Blue. Just a touch of slide through there. We're going to probably be seeing that most of the race. Anytime someone starts to push, you do kind of wash out the front there, but that inside tire grip is so important. You got to get that camber just right. Nice rotation through there. Crosses the finish line. We'll see where he ended up. I do have to switch through a few windows here to take a look at everything. Yet Noah Chilla does not improve his position. A 143.841, not too bad. Got a couple of minutes, and I think he's going to be done. Let's see who else is out on track. Only Sergi is out on track, and he is trying to challenge for the lead here. Yeah, he's going to have to call that one as well. Right, on to Q2. So the top 10 now. We'll be having a look at the track to set the top 10 qualifying order. We'll have a look. Don't know why Brandon O'Henlin is sitting at, he's actually sitting at the pit exit. Great track angle, camera angle there, guys. Really appreciate that. This is still better than Fox Sports. I probably shouldn't take a jab at Fox Sports. They might offer me a job someday. Now, that's hopeful. Right. Live timing just kind of went on the fritz a little bit. And everyone will be out on the track here momentarily, but Brandon O'Henlin was at the front of the line. Let's see how he does. He's actually come out on softs, which is interesting. Don't usually expect that, but could be a strategy call as we move into racing. He wants to try to set the fastest time he can with this and then potentially go out on supers just to see how it goes. Brandon was talking about the strategy earlier of using softs and then going to mediums for a one-stop. So it is possible that he might be going that route. We'll see. Long lap here, so timing is everything. And of course, everyone is out on the track right now. Liam Mengen made himself into 10th place. Not bad. Nick Brackey, the man who we blame everything on, sitting in 9th place. Not too bad for himself either. As we had a driver join the race. Just a touch of screen freeze. We'll have to see who that was. Brandon's really pushing it here. He's spinning the rears. Probably used to the super soft to get himself into Q2. You know, it looks like they're getting air right there through Radeon. They're not. You can blame server lag for that. Plus the fact that the server is in Europe and I'm in California. That might also be a problem. Small problem. Onboard cams are very loud. Game sound needs to come down just a touch. I actually agree with you. I was adjusting it. Sorry guys, I'm catching up on chat. Let's go on board and test that real quick before we get into the race here. Brandon trying to put in a screamer. Yeah, that's probably quite a bit better. Yeah, I would say that's much better. Of course, he is first on track, so he'll go purple everywhere. Craig Baxter looks like he's going to be putting in a fast lap. Sam Carpenter looking good in Sector 2. But again, everyone just kind of making their way around. As we're on board here with Brandon O'Henlin making his way into the chicanes. He'll be the first to set a time. Whoa, just got on the gas just a touch early. Time to beat right now, 144.339. Unfortunately, not the fastest that he can do for sure. Sam Carpenter comes in with a 43.722. Liam with a 44.621. Not exactly the fastest that we've seen him go. A lot of people logging laps right now. Baxter comes in. We expected this of 142.6. Not bad. Sergi comes in with a 142.9. We might have a battle on our hands. Sam Carpenter looks like he is making his way back out on track. He came in with a 143.722. Not bad. Noah Chilla. He actually didn't set a time, oddly. Still being shown in 6th. Guess it didn't log the time. That's okay. Everyone has set a time at this point. Just making some adjustments to my timing screen here. make sure I can see everything. Scott, I want to see Sergi and Craig react to Spa 2014 at Les Combes. Oh, yeah. We'll have to see. That could be pretty funny. We'll see here. Right. All right, Craig getting held up just a little bit here. Yeah, Craig's going to back off. I'm trying to see who that is exactly. Is that Nick? No, Nick's in the green. You know what? I think that was Matthew Clip. Was it Lalu? It was Lalu. Hey, there's a name we haven't seen too much. As of late, sitting 7th place, Jukapeka Lalu. Right now sitting on a 144.4. Not too bad. I do say so myself. Just waiting for some spacing here to open up. Car's kind of grouped up right now. Whoa. Nice little pivot there. See how he does through Rouge and Radion. Looking at 31 laps here at Spa. I'm just going to pull up the championship standings real quick while we have a minute. Just a second, actually. Spa is round 9 of 14 at this series. Everybody just finishing up their laps, and we'll head into warm-up. Of course, we all know Craig Baxter and Sergi Harras are fighting for the top spot at this point. Sergi has made a little bit of a comeback in the last couple of races with 2 wins. Baxter taking a 3rd at Silverstone. Kind of knocked him down just a touch. With only 16 points in between them right now. It's really going to come down to Sergi, actually, I think, to have the best race that he can moving on. Baxter, obviously, always fast. Has 4 wins to his name in this season. Of course, Sergi has 3, and Philip Kraus actually has the other 1. So Kraus is obviously having a halfway decent season, I'd say. A lot of 4th places, but steady as she goes, if you will. As it looks like we're going to go into warm-up here in just a second, but I don't have a graphic for this, unfortunately. But yes, Baxter, then Sergi. Phil Kraus, I mentioned him. He's in 3rd place. Only the 1 DNF holding him back. 57 points out of the lead, but only 41 out from 2nd place. So he definitely has a chance. It doesn't look like he is racing today. Don't remember if that was ever mentioned as to why he wasn't racing. He might be on holiday. But Brandon O'Hanlon sitting in 4th place at the moment. 21 points behind Phil. Very consistent again, has a 3rd place podium to his name. I believe that was back in China. But basically 4th, 5th, a couple of 6th places here and there. All in all, not too bad. Great season here for Brandon O'Hanlon. Sam Carpenter rounding out the top 5. A DNF in Germany. We're going to see quite a bit more DNFs here. The 12th place from China, I believe that was, is really holding him back there. But a little bit less consistent. 2 podiums to his name, not bad. Obviously, not a bad season. I wouldn't say this is a terrible season other than the 1 DNF, but Really is that 12th place and that DNF combined really holding him back. But he's 13 points outside of 4th place. Kieran Chadwick has 2 races not started and 2 DNFs, but he has 3, actually the 4 races that he has finished and started are podiums. 9 points out of the top 5, 100 points away from the lead. So technically, mathematically, he's not out of it per se, but going to have to put together some amazing races and have a lot of luck moving forward. Matthew Klipp sitting in 7th place, had a 12th in Australia, but from there on out, it's been top 10s all around. A 5th at round 4, I believe that was Baku. So not bad. Matthew Klipp doing pretty good. Noah Chilla sitting in 8th place. Again, not bad. Not a great showing in Germany or Australia, but been pretty steady as she goes right there. Hasn't started all races except for 2. So he is technically tied with Noah for 8th place. I'm sorry, with Matthew Klipp. My apologies. It's Jukka-Pekka behind Noah Chilla. They're both tied. But technically, Jukka-Pekka sitting 9th place. A DNF, kind of the same story. No start. Yeah. The interesting one is Scott Davison, who said he's at work right now and has only started 2 races. But they were 6th and a 7th, so points scored in. Now he finds himself in 10th place in the championship. Really, talk about sorcery. But we won't talk about that. Mac Shepard, he could have had a better season. A decent amount of top 10s. Has had 2 races outside the top 10 and a DNF. Unfortunate for him. And from there on out, really, it just comes down to consistency. A lot of DNFs, a lot of races not started. Some of the drivers are technically out of the series now because of not showing up for races or things like that. So honestly, it's just going to come down to consistency for everybody else who is involved. Really, the top 5, top 6. If they can consistently get on the podiums or consistently just be in the top 5, they're going to do just fine. It's just a matter of really just finishing the races, which, as everybody knows, can be one of the harder things to do sometimes, especially when you're at a track that you may not like for whatever reason. Just have a bit of trouble there or whatever. Camera's kind of freaking out. Don't mind me. Can't seem to just settle on one camera. Also fighting off a bit of a cold, so don't mind me. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the game here. Max Lister sitting in 4th place at the moment. Your leader will be Craig Baxter, of course. Got to make sure that the pit entrance is good to go. Make sure you understand where to come in the pits. I'm going to take just a touch of a break, make sure my throat is cleared and good to go for the start of the race. We have about 5 minutes to go. I'm going to just put on some music and we'll just leave this on for you. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Just needed to make sure I was good to go for the race. Race is just about to start here in just a second. Literally. So everybody gets to finish their warm-up laps if they happen to be on a lap. Baxter happens to be on a lap. Want to make sure their setups are good to go. Cars are allowed to be adjusted just before you join the grid. You have about 30 seconds to join the grid. Unless everybody joins the grid, then there you go. We'll get this one underway. Of course, a warm-up lap, or a formation lap, I should say, takes place. Craig is the only one out on track right now. I don't think he realizes it. Do you know that Craig has not had a ton of practice for this one? Many of these drivers are participating in other leagues, and it looks like those leagues have kind of gotten underway again, so time is split a little bit. But honestly, most of these drivers have been around these cars for a long time, and they've changed some, but the changes have been gradual throughout the seasons. And for example, last season's car is very similar to this season's car, just slight changes in power and things like that. This Baxter will cross the line here, or do some donuts.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
Apparently, yeah, that's the grid call. Right. And for some reason, okay, that was weird. Greg was still doing donuts, and then finally it reset him. That was very odd. I haven't seen that before. Very weird, but your starting order will be Craig Baxter on the pole. No real surprise there, but he did put in a decent lap, and Sergi did give him a run for his money, as seems to be the pattern this season. But speaking of Sergi Perez, starting second place. Sam Carpenter bringing up third. We have Max Lister in fourth place, a good qualifying for him. And Matthew Klipp finds himself in fifth place. A great qualifying session for him. Made his way into the top 10 and right midfield there in said top 10. Good job there. Nick Brackey bringing up sixth place for the third row. Nick, obviously the man we blame everything for when it comes to the track and the car and the server and, well, everything. Just blame him. It's fine. Everything's, yeah, he knows. It's all good. Brandon O'Henlin grabbing a seventh place, was looking pretty fast in practice, but that was on a racing setup, so we'll have to see how he does. Hopefully make his way through the field. Noah Chilla in eighth place. Again, not bad. Has been, we keep saying this, he has been showing improvement as the season wears on. It's just that everybody else is kind of improving as well. But he's getting more consistent, and consistency, honestly, is the hardest thing when it comes to this particular car. You do have to be very smooth, and it does reward smooth driving. And as you smooth out your lines and the way you attack the car, it will get better, and no one looking to do just that. Chukwupeka Lalu finds himself in ninth place, and Liam Mengen in 10th. I don't believe that is his best qualifying, but he is looking very strong here at Spa. So, yes, Jonathan Watts in 11th, Richard Taylor in 12th, Juan Manuel Ferreira. I believe that might be the First time I've said that name. Kieran Chadwick, not exactly the best qualifying position that he's had, but again, a lack of practice, unfortunately for him, finds himself in 14th place. Mac Shepard in 15th. Dano Branthome, not the best qualifying for him either. 16th place. Evan Rice in 17th, and Tom Lamberts in 18th place. Now, I did mention earlier that there are a couple of back of grid penalties, and that might have been some of that going on. The drivers will now take their positions on the grid, and I think it's hilarious that there are tire marks right at the start-finish line. So a lot of grip very suddenly right there, I'm sure. Let's see if we can find ourselves a decent camera angle. Doesn't really look like it, so we're just going to focus on the leaders. Just close that out. Bring up live timing. And right at the start, we have an internet outage. I'm very sorry about that, but Sabre Racing, Sam Carpenter, 3 wide. Sam backing off. He was the meat in that sandwich. Good idea. And Craig Baxter takes the lead here. Sergi being very careful, making his way through here on the first lap. Good Lord, here at the front. 3 wide. Insanity at the start of the race. And it looks like Sam Carpenter is going to make a move on Sergi Jerez. Coming out of pool one. Oh, he doesn't get the line. He's stuck on the curb there. He's going to have to back off. Sam Carpenter looking to make some waves here out on the softs. Now the expertise of Sergi and Baxter shows itself there as they make their way out onto Blanchimont, setting up now. Looks like there might be a pass here. Sergio Ras for the lead on the outside. We'll have the inside here on the second one. Now Sam Carpenter looking to pass Craig Baxter, but Baxter just lays the power down, keeps his second place. Now Baxter has to make sure that Sergi does not run away with the lead here. Looks like a couple of passing opportunities there in towards the middle of the field here. Brandon O'Henlin taking on Max Lister. Thanks for the camera angle there, game. Side by side through Urouge. No. Good move there by Max Lister. Lets Brandon O'Henlin have it. Grabs the draft, or I'm sorry, the slipstream here for the Kemmel Straight. Do not have DRS quite yet. Now side by side through Lecombe. Max just making himself known at this point, but the Royal Blue of Noah Chilla lurking there in 7th place, who just goes wide just a little bit there. Nick Brackey will be able to capitalize just a little bit there. Looks like Nick is just holding his line. Everybody sort of holding on here, just making sure no mistakes happening in the early goings here at the Belgian Grand Prix. The hills are alive here at Spa Francorchamps, and it is with the sweet, sweet sound of F1. Lots of close racing here in the latter half of the top 10, and we're looking at Mac Shepard sitting 11th, looking to take over a spot here from Jukapeka Lalu, but he is under pressure there from Kieran Chadwick in the Zesty Oranges machine. Oh, he's going to attack Mac. So that was Jukapeka on Mac. Mac holding on. Mac will take that position. And yeah, good move there by Kieran. Just sneaking past Jukapeka. This is for the top 10. Mac Shepard in the Vulcan Thrive, looking to just hold on to top 10 at this point. But Kieran Chadwick is on a steamer. He is just moving through the field, starting towards the back of the pack. Might have a chance here. Down the Kemmel Straight. Opens up DRS, and will move just right past him. That is a little bit unfortunate there for yeah, Mac Shepard. I almost said Jukapeka again. I don't know why I'm confusing those two cars. But Mac had absolutely no DRS assistance there through that exchange because it just wasn't quite close enough. We go back to the front and have a look here. The defiance of Craig Baxter. Kind of backing off just a touch here from Sergi, but he is keeping him within distance. Exciting stuff here at the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. We're only 3 laps in. As we're watching the top 5 with bated breath, Sam Carpenter, though, looking pretty close here. Might be challenging Craig Baxter for this second place position, but really this top 3 doing real well to just back off. They're saving the fuel a little bit, just managing the distance at this point. Sergi just can't quite get away from Baxter here. But the Sabre of Sam Carpenter looking very well. It looks like Baxter has lost enough time to where the DRS will not open. So now him and Carpenter will be fighting for second place. Looks like a fight here for 10th. Liam Mengen getting passed here by Kieran Chadwick. Liam not quite feeling it, but Chadwick is on the soft, so we kind of have to expect that. The super softs, I'm sorry, but Liam getting just a little bit dicey there on the gas pedal. We'll need to calm that down a little bit, or else he'll get passed by Max Shepard, and Jukapeka is also lurking right there. Nick Bracke. We jump around just a little bit here. This is for 7th place, and it looks like Max Lister up ahead the road there, challenging for 5th place. But this battle here, Nick Bracke looking very good against, this is Noah Chilla in the Royal Blue. Bracke opting for basically general green card, just putting his name on the back. Oh, getting just a touch sideways. These cars do have a tendency to oversteer quite a bit if you get on the gas a little bit too hard. Basically through any part of a corner, you do have to roll on and be very smooth. I keep mentioning the fact that you have to be quite smooth with this particular car, and it does reward that quite a bit. The issue, of course, is that the power comes on quite suddenly. Very much, I've compared this in the past to a 2-stroke engine in a dirt bike, and compare it to, you know, the 4-stroke is so much more smoother. So you have to just be very, I don't want to say touchy-feely with the gas pedal. You just have to time it just right. And as you're coming out of a corner, you really just have to be very careful. And there's a certain amount of steering degree angle and things like that that you can kind of play with to make sure that you don't spin out. Looks like there was a pass up there, the VD Sport. But now, actually, let's move back here. Liam Mengen under attack here by Max Shepard. Liam getting passed by Mac. This is the other Defiance car, of course. You can tell by the telltale purple there. Now, Liam, of course, this is his first season. He hasn't even done all of the races this season, unfortunately. But Liam, honestly, has been looking much better as the season wears on, and that's really all you can ask for. Obviously, taking his lessons from Craig Baxter. Speaking of Mr. Baxter, we move to have a look here. Sergi looking good here out in the lead, but you have to wonder if Baxter is just kind of letting him have it. Sergi does like to lead, but we're not seeing the distance between the two really extend much. Difference right now about a half a second. I believe that was just over a second a little bit ago, as in the previous lap. Long laps here at Spa. 5 laps complete now, and 31 of this race. But I have a feeling this one is going to be fairly exciting, as these cars are so even And these drivers have started to really figure things out, and these long straightaways are really helping out too. Long sweeping corners, of course, through Sector 2, and you really do have to kind of nail the setup for that, in my opinion. As the Royal Blue taking on the Zesty Oranges here. Noah Chilla, Max Lister. Max looking like he might get past here, but they both have DRS. Side by side coming into Lacombe. Side by side behind him as well. Lister holding his line. Oh, they touch! Royal Blue nearly spinning out. And Kieran nearly overcorrecting, trying to get around Noah Chilla. There was a big touch there. I have a feeling that Max Lister thought he had the room. Noah Chilla had the line, though. I have to call it as I see it. I'm sorry, but if that does get reported, there could be, I would call it, but Max Lister looks like he might be having just a touch of an issue, as he has fallen down to 10th now. Of course, Max, that might be him trying to be polite, realizing that he made a big mistake, so he decided to let him pass. In the process, he lost 4 positions. I'm sorry, but if that gets reported and Max does take a penalty, he just self-imposed a penalty on himself. I don't think a penalty would be needed here. Now that we've seen Max react and show some courtesy, realize he made a mistake, made the gesture of letting the competitor by him to obviously try to make that pass clean. In the process, he lost 4 positions. I'm sorry, that's a large penalty. That's more of a penalty I think that he would have gotten if a steward were to take a look at that. In my opinion, of course, this is right in the heat of the moment, as Liam Mengen looking for a possible pass here on Max Lister. This is for 10th place. Liam looking nice and strong. I have a feeling Max might be having an issue here. There might be a touch of damage, so he's trying to make sure the car is okay. But Max Lister finds himself out of the top 10 now, as they are still duking it out up here. Kieran Chadwick getting by Noah Chilla now for 6th place. Chadwick is on a rush here. Well, let's face it, it's a blitzkrieg. Kieran finds himself in 6th place. He started towards the back of the pack. Obviously got a great start here. Let's take a look at him. Don't worry, guys, I'm still keeping an eye on the front. Now, of course, I would be more or less keeping more of an eye here on Chadwick, but honestly, he's just been making lightning quick passes. He's just been flying through the field. And honestly, a 6th place from here on out would not be a bad finish. But I have a feeling he's not done. He's definitely pushing it. It'll be interesting to see how he handles his pit stops as well, with 24 laps to go. Take a look here at Nick Brackey. If I can get the camera to change. There it goes. Trying to challenge Noah Chilla here. He will have DRS here after the Radion turn here. And everybody's kind of spread out just a touch. Oh, we might have a race here. Royal Blue versus, well, Nick Brackey, essentially. Nick, good move there. Just blocking out Noah Chilla. Noah, wise move to just back off just a touch. Brackey obviously had the pass. There was no way he was going to be able to challenge that. And Nick Brackey finds himself in 7th place now. The softer tires, but I am starting to wonder when those super softs are going to start to knock down. We're 8 laps into this race. This track can be tough on tires. Really just depends on how you attack the track. As Nick goes just a little wide there, he's going to have to correct that, slow down a touch, but the Royal Blue behind him will not be able to capitalize other than just to close the gap. And you can see the difference between the super softs and the softs right there, going through, well, the second corner of Stavolo, if you will, turn 16. Well, we might have a challenge here. Noah Chilla on Nick Brackey. Yeah, Nick's going to let him go. Good move. Those tires might not be holding up now. Nick will be able to possibly get him through what is technically the first section of DRS. But that may not have been the best thing to do. Oh, I saw somebody get sideways there, I think. Yep, Liam Mangan got a little bit sideways. Now he's under attack here. Oh, wait a minute. Sergi Arras has actually been passed by Craig Baxter. We've been focusing on this midfield battle, and Baxter actually got the pass on Sergi. Oh, good God. It's been an absolute battle there in the midfield, battling for top 10, battling for points. So important here as the season begins to wind down. And we missed the lead change. It's okay, still early going here. 23 laps to go here at Spa Francorchamps, the Belgian Grand Prix. Just heating up. And at this point, it's going to come down to Sergi and how he's going to handle his tires. Now, we all know, we've been watching him for a long time. Well, this season, we watched him a lot. And he's very, very good on tires, but it looks like, I don't know if he's pushing it hard here, but he is starting to smoke the fronts. He might have a touch of damage. Obviously, we can talk to them just a little bit later. We'll have to see what exactly happened. But Sam Carpenter is actually closing up here on Sergi. Now, Sergi might have had to back off the fuel. Might have been pushing just a little bit too hard for a little bit too long. And in order to get to the end, might have had to turn down that fuel mixture. Make this happen. Sam Carpenter might pass here for second place. And that would be big here for Sam. So Carpenter hasn't had a look at a win here in just a little while. He has taken a second place. That was, well, that was 5 races ago. So he'll be hungry. He has the DRS here. Took a look. More or less filling Sergi's mirrors up. Baxter trying to check out. Looks like he has the gap. Oh yeah, Sergi's getting just a little bit antsy on the throttle there. Just a little bit, but he makes it work. Maybe just trying to make the car rotate. It looks like he may be having just a touch of a problem there. If I remember correctly, there are a couple of divots and just like deep curbs that can mess up things a little bit if you hit it just wrong. Things like that corner right there, that inside curb, if you come at it too hot, it could mess some things up. But, I mean, we're talking, there must have been something else that happened, and we're going to have to ask a little bit later. I apologize, everyone, for missing that one, and I'm sure Craig's going to go back and watch this. He'll hear it. Both Craig and Sergi actually do watch the broadcast back. Sergi, a big lockup there. Carpenter looking to capitalize. He might be able to do it this time out if he can get that DRS open and get the power down, but Sam just a little bit touchy on that gas pedal. Oh, Sergi, a little sideways. It's getting down and dirty here for second place. God, I hate that camera angle. Sam makes the pass here on Sergi. Sabre now in second place. Let's have a look here at Sergi. His tires might also be cooked. Trying to stay ahead of Baxter. Baxter, of course, so smooth. Sergi, usually very, very smooth as well, and he can save those tires, but when you're trying to lead with arguably two of the fastest guys in the series behind you, well, the two other fastest guys behind you, could be Quite a tough call here. Let's go back to the track side, and we'll let these guys kind of sort themselves out. Checking up on the Kieran Chadwick Chronicles here. The Belgium chapter. Kieran Chadwick has actually made his way into 5th place. Past Matthew Klipp, who's honestly having a fantastic race. Managing a 6th place at the moment, and it looks like everybody is kind of spaced out a little bit. But I have been impressed as of late here. The VD Sport of Matthew Klipp has just been improving so quickly. Obviously, some of these tracks suit his driving style and a little bit more maybe than others. And honestly, this car is hard to drive, and it does take a while to learn how to drive it properly. And it seems like it's starting to really all click together here for Matthew Klipp. See what I did there? Oh, wait a minute. What in the world? Oh, Sergi came into the pits. Okay, so his tires were getting cooked up. Yeah, Sergi into the pits now. He finds himself in 8th place. Looks like we're going to start seeing a lot of pit callers. Nick Bracke went into the pits. Max Lister into the pits as well. And Sergi comes out here on mediums. I'm going to have to assume that everybody who was on the Super Softs are going to have to come in here. I was kind of wondering if Sergi was going to go out with a Super, then Soft, back to Super, but I think he's already calculated that you cannot go that far on the regular Softs. But now Sergi's going to make the charge up to the front. And yes, everybody is kind of backing off each other at this point. There's about a 23 to 24 second delta when it comes to pits, as evidenced here by the first set of pit stops that we've seen so far. Noah Chilla comes out of the pits. Now Sergi. Oh, that's weird. My log is a little bit behind, but okay. Sergi just challenged Noah Chilla for 6th place. Noah's going to let him go. Sergi on the fresher tires. And honestly, Sergi's such precision when it comes to passing. Now he's got... Oh, Matthew Klipp. Oh, Baxter was in the pits. My apologies. That's why everything's going kind of wonky. And now the undercut has worked for Sergi. Sergi manages to get through the traffic okay, but he's being held up here by Matthew Klipp. Now Klipp, obviously, quite a bit faster. And Baxter, 3 wide. Down the Kemmel straight. Baxter has, oh, a little bit of a touch. Just a touch. That could have been a server thing. Doesn't look like there's any wing damage there for Craig Baxter, but Sergi finds his way into 3rd place. O'Henlin and Kieran Chadwick. The Chadwick Chronicles are getting really spicy here as Chadwick finds himself in 2nd place. There's a wing on the side of the track there. Just got hit by someone and flung onto the track. Let's see what happened there. Sam Carpenter under attack there by Matthew Klipp there for 5th place. We'll take a short break here from this battle to have a look. Looks like Sam Carpenter actually made the pass there on the VD Sport of Matthew Klipp with Noah Chilla now behind him. Klipp is under attack indeed, but now Kieran Chadwick. Good Lord, sir, from the back of the pack to 2nd place. Now we'll see how it turns out when he makes his way into the pits. Now he's on the Super Softs. He will need to come into the pits here very soon, and I'll stay on him. Not going to work. Sounds like someone's in the pits. I think that is Noah Chilla. Yeah, we have Noah Chilla in the pits. Looks like we have Matthew Klipp coming into the pits here. The soft drivers now. It's pit time. Now Kieran Chadwick finds himself in the lead, but he has Sergi Harass and Craig Baxter behind him. Sam Carpenter also behind him, just a little bit farther back. Chadwick will need to come into the pits. So the Zesty Orange's car from the back of the field makes his way to the lead. Now the question is, when does he come in? Also, Muddy Water, it's Curtis. What are you doing, sir? Good God, you don't know our voices yet? Oh, good. Oh, boy. It's fine, man. I had to kind of channel my inner Austin for all this action. But speaking of action, Sergio Arras and Craig Baxter have caught the leader, Kieran Chadwick. Now, Kieran probably should have came in the lap before, 2020 hindsight. I expected him to. That's why we stayed on him. But Sergio Arras looking to pass for the lead here. Has the fresher mediums now onto the inside. Chadwick holding his line. Good move. Baxter just a little bit faster than Chadwick through the corners there. Chadwick needs to stay to the outside again. He's got Carpenter coming up on the inside. Chadwick, oh, well executed by everyone. Well done for the lead of the race. Nobody got nervous. Chadwick held his line and forced everyone to go around him until it was time to stick to the outside. Well done here. My everyone, Sergio Arras, Craig Baxter, Sam Carpenter, and Kieran Chadwick fighting for the lead here. That's first through fourth. Now I expect Chadwick to come into the pits. Yes, he does. And we'll have to see where he ends up. Mac Shepard, Liam Mengen, and Jukapeka Lalu could be the benefactors here as Chadwick goes out on softs now. Oh, you had to wait. Somebody came into the pits here. That looks like... yeah, that was Max Shepard, and Lee Mengen are also in the pits. So, Chadwick coming out of the pits now, sitting in 7th place. And now he begins the march. Looks like Craig Baxter and Sergio Arras fighting it out again. Make their way around Brussels. Let's go on board here with Baxter. Just tiptoeing their way around Brussels. Now pull on. Let's see how these medium tires will hold up here grip-wise. There's a little bit of smoke, a little bit of tire going down there for Sergi, I should say. But Craig, looking smooth as always. And it looks like Sergi will have some front tire wear issues later on. That might be why Baxter was able to get past him before. I have a feeling that Sergi might just be pushing a little bit hard. A little bit too hard, I should say. You can push these cars pretty hard, but the moment you start going over that line, it really does become a tip show. I want to say a tiptoe show a little bit. Oh, Baxter has the slipstream, going to look to the inside. Through the chicanes, has the line, but now Sergi has the line here for the second one. And Sergi will stick there. Baxter has the DRS, going to look at the outside here for La Sauce. Carpenter sticking his nose in, just saying, hey guys, how you doing? Carpenter keeping everyone honest here. It's like watching Mario Kart. Luckily, nobody has spun off from any of the touches as Craig Baxter makes the pass, and so does Sam Carpenter. I think Sergi might have realized that he's just pushing this car a little bit too hard. Those tires aren't going to last long, so he's just going to sit in the slipstream. See if he can take a little notes. That's what I would do. But Baxter takes the lead, and Sam Carpenter finds himself in second place. Graphics look like a PS2? I have no clue. I wonder if my internet is failing me again. Fantastic. Just checking things. I mean, honestly, this is kind of the best I can do. It might just be the way that the encoding works on YouTube. And unfortunately, when I first started doing this, I had a different internet provider and I had a lot more speed to play with. And things changed. You know how it goes, unfortunately. But that might be the issue that we're seeing here. And it looks like Sam Carpenter is under attack here from Sergi. Sergi does not have the DRS that Sam Carpenter had, but Sam goes wide there through La Source, and Sergi will be able to take advantage of that, and he might even have DRS because he was behind Carpenter through there, but the detection zone, I believe... No, Carpenter still has it. Okay, so it was carried over. Carpenter will slide on by. Sergi will bid his time. Checking in on the Kieran Chadwick Chronicles here. Making his way past Nick Bracke now. Nick, I think, realized that Chadwick has the softer tire, so just kind of let him go. Doesn't want to get blamed for another thing. Oh, welcome in, Christopher DeClerc. Welcome in. And I believe the name that you're referencing is in one of our other series. One of the European F1 2018 series, I believe. But yes, welcome in. This is rFactor 2. Obviously, the graphics aren't the best. But we're not looking for the best graphics here. We're looking for the most realistic and the most customizable simulation out there. At least in my opinion. But we're going to roll with it. As honestly, at this point of the race with 14 laps to go, we're 35 minutes into this thing, and everybody has kind of spread out. You've kind of missed the beginning, which was phenomenal. Racing everywhere. There was so much racing, I actually missed a lead change, and I will take the blame for that, because honestly, the action that was happening on our screens was, well, let's face it, it was very good. So I highly suggest going back and watching the VOD once the stream is done. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I love doing this particular series, because of the racing. Yeah, the graphics may not be the best. It's definitely, you know, not a AAA game. That's because it's not a game. It's a simulation. Someone's got to make me laugh. But yes, this top 3 battle has been raging all race. We even had Kieran Chadwick involved. Brandon O'Henlin trying to get involved, but Kieran Chadwick made his way from the back of the field, was leading at one point. Scott, just go back and watch the VOD, my man. It's just been insane. This has been insanity. We even had it was so insane, OBS disconnected. Couldn't handle it. OBS couldn't handle it. My computer's like, what? It even gave me a notification, a Windows notification that OBS was disconnected. It was hilarious. Obviously, I don't talk too much about that, but it's really been a battle at the front. Pretty much the whole race. We've seen top 10 battles. We've seen top 5 battles. It's been all over the place. And speaking of other battles just to kind of look at, this one was hotting up, but it looks like Nick Bracke has kind of put a gap there on Dan of Brantham, the former Zesty Racing driver from last season. Scott, you would remember that. But you have missed a lot. It would definitely take a highlight reel just to cover everything that happened there in the first 15 laps or so. But now with 13 to go, Sergio Harass looking to make a pass down the Camel straight here on Sam Carpenter for second place. Makes it stick nice and easy. Carpenter realizing that he was definitely going to be passed on that one, but Sergi might have cranked up the boost a bit. A bit of a controversy at the beginning of the season was that Sergi, there was no accusation, he was kind of more or less poking fun, but Sergi saying that Greg Baxter using quali boost the whole time. No, first of all, you can't do that. For those wondering, there is a qualification boost and a race boost setup here. the quality boost, obviously the highest, and then if you can knock it down one more, that'll technically be a high race boost, which you can use for some time, but it does hurt the engine. And then there's, you know, a more moderate boost, which most people use at towards the you know, just in the middle of the race and when you're not trying to make a pass. Sergi, quote unquote, accused Craig Baxter of using the highest boost possible throughout the whole race, and Sergi, obviously, I mean, he was joking. It wasn't obvious because there's a little bit of a humor and a language gap there, but later on, Sergi admitted that he was joking, and you know, he's just kind of trying to give everybody a hard time. And you know, for those wondering, for passing and things, you can use that higher boost, and most of the time people do, if they're comfortable with it. You know, trying to get out of the corners a little faster, things like that. If you're used to it, as Carpenter has a look here on Sergi, not going to work here for second place, but most of the time you don't want to run it. And I don't think Sergi realized that many of the drivers in this series have been running this particular car or have been in this series for a very long time. Yes, new to AOR last year for Season 1, but this was a carryover from another series in the past, which we don't talk about. It's kind of like the, you know, it's that weird uncle. We just don't talk about him. But we obviously can't talk about that. But this series did join AOR last year for Season 1. We saw a lot of new drivers come in, and it was a lot of fun. Sergi is one of those newer drivers for this season. He just hadn't quite figured it out, but honestly, Sergi came in here and just rip-roaring. He was so fast. And there were other people who came in that were just so fast, but were more inconsistent. Now, there were some accusations, this was a real controversy, some accusations thrown around that maybe some of those people were cheating, which is one of the reasons why we run an anti-cheat in this series, to make sure that, just to make sure, it's more for peace of mind, to make sure that no one is cheating. Sergi and a few others have passed that test, and we had a feeling, I think everybody really had a feeling that Sergi was going to pass, honestly, and this is not an accusation on Sergi Arras. He is just this fast. Craig Baxter, Sam Carpenter, and all the fast guys here have had a lot of trouble keeping up with him throughout this whole season, and honestly, it's very impressive as to how quick he's learned this car. I have a lot of simulation racing experience under my belt. I still haven't figured out this car. Granted, I've done about 40 laps on various tracks. I also suck, which is why I commentate. Kappa. Yes. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. That's actually that's high praise, my friend. I greatly appreciate that. Now what we got to do is we got to tweet out to the official F1 guys and get those boring guys off of there and bring in all the AOR guys, and now we'll have a show. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, people will start watching real F1 again. But have to admit though, the simulation stuff, many times better racing than the IRL stuff. Let's take a look at the Kieran Chadwick Chronicles. Kieran Chadwick sitting in 5th place as of now, trying to catch up to Brandon O'Henlin. He has sort of closed the gap, but he's not quite there for the DRS to kick in quite yet. As we head back over to Sam Carpenter, who has been slowly gaining ground back on Sergi. Now, Sergi obviously has to back off, but it looks like Sam Carpenter is having a little bit of a rear brake issue. He's locking him up just a touch. He has been doing that a little way through. We're seeing the car get a little sideways on entrance and through the middle. So I'm kind of wondering now if those brakes, the brake balance just a little bit off there towards the rear. We'll have to see how that goes. Nick Baracki has had a fantastic race, still trying to catch Danov, as Mr. Brantham has been looking very strong. We'll have to see how that goes, as again, Sam Carpenter back to the front is starting to close up on him. By him, I mean Sergi. half a second behind. And for some reason, the DRS isn't quite helping him out. You still have to drive. I'm wondering if... Oh, Carpenter lighting up those front tires. That's not good. I don't think he quite set the corner up, but he's starting to push. 10 to go here at Spa Francorchamps in the beautiful mountains of Belgium. Honestly, a bucket list track for me to visit. I don't know about you guys, but good God, the 6 hours here would be awesome. One of these days. Maybe I'll convince my girlfriend. If we ever decide to get married, that maybe this will be our honeymoon. That would be fantastic, right? I know she's watching. I'm gonna get yelled at. But I think there's better racing here because it's not as much all about the strategies and team orders as there is in the real F1. Well, I agree. The strategy is still very important. As we might, we might have a pass here. Sergi making his move. Did leave room. Is questionable, but Carpenter makes the pass happen. It was aggressive defending, but he made his one move. So, yikes. Carpenter has to be gritting his teeth after that. Good Lord, that was close. Whew. Sam Carpenter finds his way into second place now. The Royal Blue. I'm sorry, the Sabre. I always get those two mixed up. The Sabre Racing machine looking fantastic. I wonder if he's going to make a move for the lead. I mean, you might as well since you're there. But yeah, to kind of touch on the point there that Christopher was making, the team order's definitely not there. No, you're in the race for you. Granted, there is a team standings. There's a manufacturer standings. Is what we call it here. Was that a tire smoking for Sergi? Yeah, he's coming in for the pits. That was really weird. We're gonna have a look here. Okay, all right. So the mediums are done for Sergi. Gone 8 laps to go here, and he's going with super softs as we can't see him at all. Thank you, Wall. Someone needs to talk to the track designer on this one. So Sergi comes out here in 4th place. Kieran Chadwick has made his way up to 3rd. Now I expect Sergi to make the pass here. Chadwick, I don't think quite has the speed here. He needed the downforce to get through the field. So, yes, Sergi will make that pass there. He does have the DRS. Makes that work. Now Sergi back into 3rd place. Right. Chadwick had a chance there. I don't think he realized what was happening when Sergi just kind of showed up in his mirrors. Thank you, pit wall. But Kieran Chadwick... Okay, we need to talk about Chadwick here. The man started in something like 15th place. He's now in 4th. That is not an easy feat. The first lap, I think he passed maybe 6 people. 6 cars on the first lap. Kieran's been on a tear this whole time. Found himself in the lead at some point. Just to kind of review for those who maybe weren't around for that. He found himself in the lead through the pit stop sequence there at the beginning of the race. The first set of pit stops. And that Zesty Orange's car has been hanging on ever since. Now he's looking at a top 5 after starting basically from the back of the field. If we had a driver of the day, like we do in F1 2018, here at the RF2 setup, my vote would be for Kieran Chadwick. Good Lord, sir. Well done. Well done. But basically, everyone has kind of spread out at this point. There's 7 to go. I think everybody just kind of wants to get to the end of this race. It was so fast and frenetic. It's just been crazy, honestly. Let's go ahead and have a look at the leader here and see how he's doing. He's on the mediums, going for that one-stop strategy that I had mentioned before. Looks like he might be able to make it work if he doesn't smoke the tires. Definitely not a marathon per se. We might have a bit of a race here next. Lister, the other Zesty Oranges car, taking on Danov Brantham, trying to get into the top 10. Oh, we have a slipstream going to the outside here through Lacombe. Will he make it work? Leaves the room here there for Danov. Danov thought he might have had room on the inside, didn't quite have it. So, a good pass there by Max Lister. Danov challenging. Oh, God. Danov not known to be a super aggressive driver, but Max held his line, and Danov gave him the room. Talk about mind games, though. Danov just kind of hanging out there on the inside. Just if the door was open, he was going to take it, but he left the room. So well done. Well done, sir. Faking out the commentator and giving us all a heart attack. Well done. Danov's going to keep up here with Lister. Danov, a former Zesty Oranges driver, ended up leaving the team. Now he's going to try to make a pass here, try to get around the slipstream here. We're going side by side here. Wow. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. And Danov takes the position back. That's the Duke out there for the 10th place position. Obviously the last points position there is. We do have Richard Taylor and Juan Manuel Ferreira in the pits. I believe they are out. Not able to finish this race. That's unfortunate. I believe Juan Manuel, this is his first race in this particular series. If I'm not mistaken, that might have been either him or Richard Taylor. Might have been one of the wings that we saw laying about the track that got kicked up there over, I believe that was coming out of Brussels. Yeah, turn 11. Right. 6 to go. Let's move over to 7th place here. Noah Chilla might be challenging Nick Brackey again. There has been some good racing here at Spa. But I have to admit, the middle of this race after the first... Oh, big slide! He keeps it out of the wall! Noah Chilla just getting a little too crazy on the gas and manages to keep it out. A little snap back oversteer there for Noah Chilla. Lights up the tires and keeps it out of the wall. Fantastic bit of driving there. The Royal Blue. He will lose a position. Drops down to 8th. Talk about a pucker moment, though, I have to admit. He was staring right at that wall and nearly panic revved back onto the track, but he had the wherewithal to stop and make sure he did not hit Mac Shepard. Ooh, boy. That was close. We've all been there. But yes, Noah Chilla looking much better now. He's probably a little shaken up. And you know what? Take some time. to just take a deep breath. And especially here, because you want to just get back around the track to make sure that you didn't really screw it up. And that's the key here. You really do just have to push it out of your mind. You know how to take the corner. You just made a little mistake, and that's okay. Kept it out of the wall. He did everything he could. Hopefully he didn't light up the tires too hard. Let's see what he does here. And nice and smooth. See? Easy. Might have a little bit of race behind him here as Jukapeka Lalu might make his way, or is going to be challenged here by Danov Brantham. We got 4 laps into the race. Danov trying to move his way a little bit higher up in the order, get a couple more points for the championship. For some reason, this camera change here is very odd. It's like we're going back to the 80s there. Just a little bit of static there as Danov challenging here. Jukapeka looks like he's going to be passed. Yes, he will. Jukapeka will slide in behind him now. Has the slipstream. He'll be able to stick with him. 4 to go, I should mention. And behind this pair, it looks like Max Lister and Matthew Klipp battling for 11th place. Let's check in with the leaders, though, as Craig Baxter actually catching up to his teammate, it looks like. Is that Liam Mangan? Yes, it is. Up ahead. So there's going to be a couple of lapped cars for this race. The Sabre of Sam Carpenter battling around there in 2nd place, and Sergey Ras still right there in 3rd. How many racers in total? We had 18 start the race. Could make a vote in the video replay for driver of the day. Yeah, I mean, you could always put in the comments. You know what? That's a good idea as the race starts to wind down. In the comments, for the replay, obviously, go ahead and put in your driver of the day, driver of this race. What do you think? That's a fantastic idea, actually. Obviously, we're on YouTube. I'm so used to Twitch still, as Mangan will allow Baxter by. Now, okay, this is where things might get a little interesting. Mangan has the interesting position of being the 2nd Defiance driver, who's now been lapped by his teammate. With 3 to go, he could actually hold up Sam Carpenter and Sergey Raz to make sure they do not challenge his teammate for the lead. Interesting stuff. Let's see what Liam does. And oh, no, he's gonna go by. Okay. Yeah, well. Oh, Liam, you sportsman, you're ruining our fun. Liam's a good lad. I'm glad he's joined the series. Good fun. Good fun. But and you know he thought about it. Of course he thought about it. Noah Chilla, though, still hanging out here in 9th place. Looks like he... Was there a pass there? Yes, there was a pass. Danov did get past him. He's obviously not very comfortable here as the fuel runs out. And he also might have slightly more worn out tires here because he's trying for the 1 stop. Liam's name just lit up for some reason, and I think... Oh, yeah, because he went off track again, and he lost a position. So now he's sitting effectively last. 16th place here for Liam, who's obviously not had a great race. And like I said, it's very tough to drive these cars consistently. The one man who can do it, though, is his teammate, Craig Baxter. For those wondering, yes, he has been around for a long time. Yes, he has been around this car for a long time. He's been around a variety of iterations. But he hasn't put in the most laps, actually, believe it or not. If I'm not mistaken, it was Brandon O'Henlin who put in the most laps when they were testing out this version of the car. Baxter obviously had some input on that, as did all the drivers, if they so chose to give it a shot. There were a couple of iterations at the beginning of the season, but now it's round 9. And if you haven't figured out the car yet, you're gonna have a bad time. We do have 2 laps to go, and I just realized that action has been so crazy. We've barely had time to get an onboard, and I think it's only fitting that we actually change over to Danov Brantham, who is challenging Max Shepard here for position. This would be for 7th. My timing lit up here, but Danov is on the softs. Super soft, I'm sorry. Long lap here at Spa. We can go back to Craig Baxter. We haven't really done a lot of onboard, so I think it's a good idea as Craig Baxter comes out of La Source, setting up here for Eau Rouge and Radillon. For those who don't know, this is Eau Rouge, that's Radillon. A lot of people think the whole thing is Eau Rouge, and now we make our way down the Kemmel Straight. 308 kilometers an hour for Craig Baxter. That's without DRS. We're probably looking at about 320-ish with DRS. With a wing setup similar to Baku. Everything else might be just a touch different. It's the way the car handles. Around Pouan. Pouan, you have to manage your throttle properly. Don't want to brake too hard. Now through the campus complex. It's really just called campus, but I like to call it the complex because it sort of encompasses all the way up to Stavelo here, what Craig just went through. And then turn 16. I believe that is the unnamed corner. No, the unnamed corner, I'm sorry, is after Brussels. My apologies. Now Blanchimont. If you don't nail those apexes, you can go flying off the track. Now for the chicane and turn 20 to the start-finish line. And Craig Baxter takes the win. Well fought here. Sam Carpenter has actually grabbed second place, yes, from Sergio Raz. Sam Carpenter has made it work. He well-deserved donuts. Oh, good Lord, sir. Well done. Kieran Chadwick finds himself in 4th place. The Zesty Racing guys have to be happy after that. Well fought and well earned for Kieran Chadwick. Race just lasting just over an hour. And Kieran Chadwick just put the race of his life together here. Brandon O'Hanlon grabbing 5th place. 6th place will be Nick Brackey. Danov Brantham grabs a 7th. Mac Shepard, Noah Chilin, Juka Pakalalu, 8th, 9th, and 10th, respectively. Well fought for them. That whole last part of the top 10 was absolutely insane. It's Evan Rice and the Sabre Jr. will be the last car on the track, grabbing 13th place. Evan, I believe this is his 2nd season here at AOR. He was in last season, but he just doesn't quite have the time to really put in the practice hours and the practice laps. But grabbing a 13th for him is not bad at all. Hold your head high there, Mr. Rice. You finished the race at arguably one of the hardest tracks to stay consistent at. And he knows he's last, too. He's just going to roll. Roll across. Engine's still running. No, he's going to stop. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Well done, everyone. Well done. A great race indeed. As we're going to take just a touch of a break and hopefully grab a couple interviews.
Is this all there is? Is this all there is? I see true destiny. Time won't slow down at all. Like a bird set free, it will fly to the
All right, guys, what a race! Fantastic. I'm going to bring one of the drivers in here. You know, let's go with Sam. Oh, there's Sergi. Okay, I'm trying. The drivers are making their way into the interview here. Let's bring Sergi in here. Sergi, how you doing? Heck of a race there, huh? No, Sam Carpenter had to go stick his nose in there, right?
More interesting.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, looks like the tire strategy, you were going for a one-stopper, or
Yeah.
did you actually plan the two-stop?
No, I was going for a one stop, but then I realized I'm stuck behind these two guys. I can try to do one stop and get like 2 seconds faster per lap and just try to do something different, but it eventually didn't work. I mean, and maybe if I got stuck behind Sam, I would have got DRS, and last lap I could have overtaken him and get P2. Who knows? But I just prefer to risk it all in and just pit and hammer time.
And why not go all in, right? When you came into the pits, I was actually worried about the pit stop delta being 24 seconds and you losing all that time. But I mean, I guess that time difference between the mediums and the super softs were just that much, huh? Over what, 8 laps, 9 laps, I think it was. Did you do that calculation previously, or were you just being awesome driver and did it all in your head?
The pit window, yeah, I know it was around 16 seconds, and I know it would be really close with P4, which it was, but I got DRS and got past him, which was a bit lucky, because I just had to risk it. It was either pit that lap or don't pit. And about the tires, I didn't really know how far they could go. The last couple of laps they kind of died, so I just risked it and didn't gain about it, but didn't lose anything either. So
right, so it's one of those things you might as well. Let's talk about the start of the race. You came in first. Were you going for the undercut, or was that pretty much planned?
I knew I could beat lap 11, lap 12, and make it to the end. So yeah, I went totally for the undercut, and it kind of worked at first, but then it didn't work.
It looked like did you overcook those mediums too, right there in the middle? I want to say in the middle of the race. Looked like you were kind of smoking just a touch in a couple of corners whenever the speed was up. I don't know. I was speculating if that was a setup issue or if you were just trying to push a little too hard. Do you have any?
Maybe I was trying to push a little bit too hard. I mean, I wanted to break the RS, of course, but didn't manage to do it. So I just wanted. I know I had like a couple extra laps of tire wear left there, so like I wanted to push just a bit more to get that gap, but I couldn't do it. So
okay. Well, before I let you go, I'm going to recommend that you go back and watch the VOD because I thoroughly gave you a hard time.
Yeah, I usually do it. That's a thing I like to do. Just
you will be entertained.
Yeah.
All right, Sergi. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm gonna move you up there. Right, that was Sergi Harass. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And I really do hope he comes back and watches this. Should be good. Let's go ahead and bring in Sam Carpenter here. Sam.
Hello.
How you doing?
A bit shattered.
I can imagine. What a race.
Yeah, really happy, honestly. Spa is just such a level playing field for me compared to all the other tracks, and I tend to go well there, and I'm very happy with the result.
If I remember right, you were contesting for a win last season here.
I don't really remember what happened last season. I don't think it ended
enough.
very well. But the season before that, back when this was Nebula, I led the first few laps before the tyre wear demons kicked in. But I sort of had those today again.
Yeah.
But it was such an easy one stop that we just went soft medium. I was dead on the tyres at the end, but I like to think I'm quick enough to sort of offset that, at least with Sergi.
Well, yeah, and with Sergi breathing down your neck for basically the latter part of that race, pretty much the last, 6-7 laps, I would imagine things got a little dicey.
Yeah.
And I don't think it happened with you, but there was a touch there with Craig and Sergi. I don't think anything really happened with it, and it might have been server lag on my side. It was hard to tell. But Sergi does push the envelope, but he does it fairly.
Yeah, I think with that was when I think me and Craig came out the pits, wasn't it? And then all three of us were pretty much on the same straight together, and then there was a couple of people who hadn't pitted as well.
Correct.
And it was like 4 cars there. I'll have to watch it back again, whether people did 2 movements, whether I don't know. I'll have to watch it back. But the rest of the race and the little bit of contact as well. I mean, Robin's racing, really, isn't it? But honestly,
yes.
that's some of the. I said on the cool down lap, we were in Discord channel together. I said it's some of the most fun I've had ever racing on this game. It
So,
was brilliant.
I know what pass you're talking about. It is on. It did get streamed. I did make comment about it. He made one move. He did squeeze you, but he did leave room.
Yeah, everything with me and Sergi seemed absolutely fine. The only thing was that I was questioning was how fast he was in a straight line. It was unbelievable. Whether he's quali boost, I don't know. But yeah.
He was definitely playing. You could tell. It did seem like both Craig and Sergi were playing with boost a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah.
At the end of the race, I was considering it because I thought he was going to be absolutely on me at the final stint because he came out of the pits and his first lap was like 4 seconds quicker than me. I was pooing myself, but then I saw that he was getting diminishing returns with his tyre wear, thermal deg, fuel, whatever it was, and eventually I managed to hold on to it.
Yeah, no, he does, and I do see this with a few other drivers. Sergi does do this as well. That he does work into his own strategy as to how he can use the boost effectively, and that might be the next step, I think, for a lot of drivers. I know you've done it before.
Yes,
Kind of
very
all
briefly.
the top drivers do it, and that's the whole point, honestly.
I haven't really been at a point where I've needed to. Obviously, I would have if he got any closer today. And I think he used it earlier in the race as well. So I thought he might have blown up at some point. But Mexico next is a very, very, very long straight. So I think we'll be seeing quite a lot of it there.
I think so too. Well, I think I'm gonna let you go. I'll bring Craig in here. Sam, great race.
Okay.
It's good to see you on top again, or at least on the podium.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in Mexico, man.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You got it. Mr. Baxter.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Now, that was a race.
Was that good? Yeah.
No, I had a feeling after watching qualifying that I would need to clear my throat and try to hack out a lung because I was hacking out a lung this morning. And I don't think anybody was disappointed.
Yep. I mean, it was a pretty decent race. I do not like the track. It's probably the one I've done the least practice for this season. I was too busy
Yeah.
Netflix and playing poker and things like that, so I probably should have been practicing more, but it worked out in the end, I guess.
It seemed to work out okay. Someone had made a comment during the morning practice session that this is one of those tracks where you've been at it so much, really shouldn't have any trouble getting the qualifying times, all that set up, and we didn't. At least I don't think so. I didn't see a driver drop out, other than R2, who's having connection issues anyways. But it did seem like in the various battles, and as you always go back and watch anyways, in the various battles, it did seem like everybody was fairly even. And I'll be honest with you, man, I went out on the track last night with just a stock setup and could have qualified for the race. So something was done right.
Spa's not. I don't think Spa's a crazy difficult circuit. As I say, I'm not a fan myself, but if you're in slipstream, even if you're like half a second a lap slower, it doesn't matter because you can fight because of the slipstream. First stint, I was extremely cautious. I was going into like the lowest fuel mode, saving all the fuel because I knew as soon as if you try and brake and you're driving by yourself, you're going to be using so much fuel, and you have to save fuel. So the first stint, I could have blasted past like at the beginning, but I tactically fell to second at the start. Made a mistake into turn 1, which helped obviously, but I would have hoped to drop behind and get slipstream, and in the end it worked. But I was a bit worried about Sam because he was on the softs, so
Yes.
and he was quick for a change in terms of like he was on the softs, so he shouldn't have been on top of us. But in the end, I guess we weren't pushing, so it makes sense. But luckily, my wear was better than his, and he was on a harder tire. So
Yeah, well, he also mentioned during the interview that, you know, he didn't really play with the mix too much. He kind of just made it he just raced more than anything else. And he had a couple of hairy moments with Sergi in the racing. You had your own hairy moment.
yeah, I was speaking to Sergi about that one. Is it the one at the end of the Camel Straight?
Yeah, and now I take everything that I see on my side with a touch of salt because there's a decent amount of lag between the server and me.
Yep.
Was there a touch?
Yeah, defo. I mean, at least on my end, and he said there wasn't his end, I'm pretty sure. But basically what happened is he moved to the right to defend and then moved across under braking and touched my front wing. But in the end, it was an absolute minor touch, and we're using a new collision model, so it could have been down to that. But it's not something I care about. It didn't change anything. It's not like that's going to give you damage that actually affects your car.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah, and I know I was I was memeing on Nick Brackey, of course, as we all do. And so I guess the new damage model actually worked, and all of my memeing was unnecessary.
It seems to be. It seems to be. Until someone goes out the track because of a collision, I would say it's safe to say it's better than what we had before.
So you're saying we don't need to call Elon Musk this season?
Not yet.
Yet.
Not yet.
Yet, he says. But I mean, overall, it seemed like you're pretty happy with the race, the way it went.
Yeah, but decent race. Couldn't have gone any worse anyway.
I'll be honest with you. I missed the first lead change. There was so much action in the middle of the pack that it was hard to keep up.
I just ran deep into turn 1. I tried to brake where I normally broke, and
And that was it. Okay.
But in the end, it worked out because I could sit behind. So
fair enough. All right, Craig. I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Thanks for dropping on by, and a fantastic race. Well done, of course.
Thank you. Thanks for the commentary.
You
and
got
the
it.
stream, of course.
You got it, man. I'll drop down there in just a little bit after I wrap up the stream. Well, guys, there you go. The Grand Prix of Belgium turned out to be probably one of the most entertaining races that we have had here at AOR on rFactor 2. I would argue that might be one of the most interesting races and probably one of the most exciting races that I've ever commentated on. I've commentated on some pretty excited races, but we had action all over the track, especially in the beginning of the race. There were strategy calls. There were just everything. It had everything that you would expect from a legendary track like Spa Francorchamps. As the Belgian mountains were alight with F1 this afternoon, this evening, or this morning, depending on where you're at in the world. I want to thank you for joining us here at AOR. My name is Curtis Kenyon. You can find me on Twitter at NinjaRider RL. It's mentioned in the video description. And again, guys, if you've made it this far, if you have a driver of the race, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Would be good to see what you think. For all of us here at AOR and the rFactor 2 team, this is Curtis Kenyon. We're signing off. We'll see you next time in Mexico.